Good morning, everyone. We're going to get started here in a second to have another wonderful Wednesday morning in Seattle for some people not so much. That's the cool benefit of being virtuals. We can be from wherever we want to be, so long as there's internet, which I don't think Mars has internet yet, but we are probably working on it for some reason. Who knows? I appreciated the very buggy, insecty conversation this morning. We're probably going to transition off that to something a little bit more palatable, to a morning, breakfast situation. Who here's already had breakfast? Who's those morning people? Oh, good for everyone here. Well, Owen's cheating. He's east of us, so. I have not yet. It's a later thing. So we're going to jump in here and get started. My name is Leif. It rhymes with safe. Good morning, everybody. You are at 1 Million Cups. It's great to have you here every week. We meet Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m. Pacific Central Standard, whatever Pacific time it is. And we do this usually based on coffee. So if you have a drink, you see our coffee mug motif, it'll be sprinkled throughout this whole thing. We like to get hyped up on caffeine and talk about business ideas. And it's kind of one of the core tenets of 1 Million Cups. If you have not subscribed to our many ways of hearing about us, emails, which are fun and interesting, et cetera, please click on the link tree that is in your chat thing on Zoom right now. You don't have to type it in manually, and that's got all the information you could possibly want. So go ahead and click on that one, keep it open for the presentation, and we'll have all the links that you need. So what is 1 Million Cups? Why are you here? What are we doing here on a Wednesday morning? We're here to share ideas and kind of connect as entrepreneurs, offer help. Another thing we do a lot is being vulnerable, talking about your business in a way that's like, it's not perfect, or it's not working the way I wanted, or whatever you feel overwhelmed with your business or idea. So that's where you can ask for help, build community, and support each other. That's what everyone here is on the call to do. Big thing that differentiates us from other groups that do business type work is we're not here with to pitch to investors necessarily. There's not really something with the crowd. We're all business owners or aspiring business owners. So we're here to kind of connect on business ideas and like challenges as a community. We're not run by some enormous company or your bank or whatever. We're just some volunteers that happen to care and put their time on the line to make this thing happen every week. And we are also trying to be more inclusive every week. That is our differentiating package. So what is 1 Million Cups Nation? This is actually a group across the whole country. So if you didn't get enough here, you can go to a different one somewhere in Texas or New York or in Ohio, wherever you happen to want to be, or a particular hub that might have the type of customers you're looking to talk to, or wherever you want to go, you can go to those ones. And you can present anywhere you want right now. That's kind of the benefit of being online. So you can kind of hop around and get advice from all sorts of ones. Has anyone ever presented outside of the Seattle chapter before? There's Katie and Owen. Nice. Good job, everyone. So we are here to do our 3 pillars. We're here to educate, present, and make connections. So for example, last week we did an education series. That was where we had someone come in that was an expert in their very specific field and talked about things that they see all the time, and we could pepper them with questions. So sometimes it'll be a little bit of a different presentation, not always an entrepreneur presentation, but an education presentation. That's a lot of words. We've had thousands of people across the nation present at 1 Million Cups for the first time. So it's a really great place to just get an idea out there. If you're working on a second idea, third, fourth idea, why not talk about it and throw it out in front of your entrepreneur friends and see if it lands or if it just kind of sinks in the water. Although we're never that mean usually. We're never mean, actually. Yes, that's true, we're not. Big thank you to our community sponsors. We have a few of them here. Human Up, a small studio, and McLaughlin Method. They make sure that all the gears are lubricated and the gears exist in the machine in the first place to get this show on the road and to stay on the road and not break down. So thank you for all of that. I didn't know meetup groups cost money, and all sorts of other tools cost money to make them work well. And of course, our volunteers, 6 of them that make this all happen. Big thank you to them. This is just a thing through the desire to want to make this community of Seattle even better every week. So each and every one of you, thank you mucho. It is awesome to have you. And we're always looking for more, by the way. So what to expect today? Have a little bit of coffee and conversation. We did a little bit of that. We got our bug conversations out for the rest of the day, hopefully. And now we're going to move on to our 6-minute entrepreneur presentation. After that, there'll be a bit of a 20-minute Q&A, which kind of will extend a little bit longer. And then we're going to break out into these little breakout rooms where we can talk about more conversation, even better conversation about the presenter, their business, your business, bugs, whatever it's going to be. So that's what we can expect on the radar today. So quick note on being a supportive listener. The goal here is to try to come up with questions and ideas and thoughts when you're going to be talking in the 20-minute Q&A. Even if you don't feel like you're the person to ask questions, write something down. You're here to also practice what is a good conversation to start with an entrepreneur. Have they thought about something? So keep that in mind as we're going through this presentation and when you're focusing in. All right. So we're going to jump right into bringing Owen on the stage. Owen has a company called Doghouse, at least the game's called Doghouse. And this is, I think, first for 1Million Cup Seattle is a game design. Okay, so we're going to stop sharing my screen and hand over the mic to Owen. Owen, are you actually co-host? I'm not sure if that actually happened.
I'm not sure, but as long as I could share my screen, I think.
If you have the green button, you're good to go.
Awesome, thank you.
So big welcome to Owen on the stage, all the way from
screen sharing was disabled.
Okay, Zucky will work on that here in a second. He's the man with the plan. In the meantime, I'll do some hand waves.
Yeah, sorry if you see me yawning. For those who weren't here before, I had 14 hours worth of flying within the last week.
I'm impressed you're even presenting. I would be like, yeah, I'm sorry, I can't, I'm gonna be asleep. What time is it for you and where you came from right now?
Right now it's 11. In Israel, it would be 7:10.
Mm-hmm.
So dinner time.
Did you get the green button?
I no longer have the ability to.
Oh.
So that must be Katie, because I made her co-host.
Sorry, we had a weird host. No, now it's back to me. I wasn't host, and then I was host, and now it's back again. So thank you everyone for jumping in. Make co-host. All right, Owen, you are good to go.
Okay. Oh, awesome. Let's go ahead and present. All right. So, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Owen Ferguson. I'm co-president and co-founder of the Whiteboard Group LLC, and we are the creators of the game that makes failure fun, Doghouse, the party game that you can't wait to lose. Doghouse is a game made for mature audiences, perfect for adult parties. It entails 6 satirical spin-offs of traditional party games, so Truth or Dare, Never Have I Ever, categories, and so on. The way you select a game is by taking turns rolling a regular 6-face die and drawing a card from that respective deck. Each deck is a different game, and each game has a different way of getting players sent to the Doghouse. There are no winners, but at least one loser per round, and the losers, as you might have guessed, are the ones that are sent to the Doghouse. This game is best played casually with no one staying in the Doghouse. At the beginning of each round, it would reset. But if you really have a desire for competition, you could also play competitively, keeping a tally of how many times each player is sent to the Doghouse. However, I do recommend playing casually. It's a game that doesn't have a limit in its playtime. So yeah, you could really just go on for hours and hours having a good time. But also, like I said, the option for competition is always open. A bit of our backstory: this game was conceived in the second of a 3-semester program at the College of St. Benedict and St. John's University. Myself and my 3 teammates were all classmates that were a part of the Entrepreneur Scholars program there. And through that program, we essentially learned entrepreneurship through practice. So coursework, business travel, mentorship, and ultimately taking up the challenge to attempt to start a business venture. My team and I got together and received this plethora of resources, and even got to meet our game manufacturer when making a trip to China in December of 2019. Our team always thought that Doghouse was a good idea, and through a variety of avenues to share the idea, we received such support and feedback, but we never really saw it going past the program. We all had plans for ourselves for life after graduation. Plans, all that kind of fell flat on their face in light of the pandemic. So in the face of unemployment and economic recession, we embraced ambiguity and decided this would be the perfect time to launch our business venture. As of now, we are just a little over 1 year old. So I'd still consider us in the just a little past the launch phase. We introduced our game to the market via Kickstarter in August of last year, and we're quite successful given the limited time we spent in planning, just from May to August. And this campaign has provided us with more than enough than what we needed to cover our startup costs. So you see the figures right there: 333 backers, raising $18,932, which beats our initial goal of $16,000 by 18%. And now I could just walk with you down our timeline since the inception back in October of 2020. Since then, we won a business pitch competition at an Entrepreneur Scholars Consortium in Phoenix in February of 2020. In May, we graduated and found ourselves unemployed. Hannah and Zach, which are two of my 4 teammates, joined the team. So initially they were working on their own thing, just supporting Margaret and I from afar. But once we all found ourselves in the same position, they figured they'd hop on board, and that was more than encouraged. They were very helpful in getting started throughout the program anyway. So it was a pretty seamless transition bringing them onto the team. And in August, we launched our Kickstarter campaign, hitting our goal exactly 3 weeks after the start date. And it left us with just a little over a week left to raise some excess funds. In January, we finally were able to fulfill our orders, both Kickstarter backers as well as persons who pre-ordered through the website. And that's actually where I guess we started to face some challenges. The games were supposed to arrive somewhere between late November and mid-December, with hopes that we could fulfill by Christmas time. But just given the state of the world with the pandemic, we faced a few challenges there. Ships were leaving China at a much lesser frequency. And even once they arrived in the US, we just found ourselves facing hurdle after hurdle, delaying our fulfillment by a month. But I think we did an okay job in communicating with our community and letting them know what was going on, and keeping them happy as they wait. And yeah, so that was kind of our first challenge. In April, we launched what's called the Top Dog Ambassador Program, which is essentially an opportunity for anyone from any community really to sign up as a promoter for the brand. Essentially, you receive a 15% promotion code that you could share as you promote the game. And for each game that's sold using your individual promotion code, you will get 10% of the proceeds. So that's the Top Dog Ambassador Program, and something that we were also hoping to do in the spring. And that was our second major hurdle, is launch the Doghouse app. We partnered with some gentlemen who graduated from our college, essentially right at the end of the Kickstarter campaign. And we got the app pretty much ready for launch. We submitted it to both the Apple and Android stores for approval, got approved by Android, but denied from Apple, with essentially no hope for, no room for improvement as far as likelihood of changing their minds. And so, yeah, we kind of just had to face the facts there. And we kept a good relationship with that company, 5Stack LLC, but unfortunately there is no Doghouse app that's going to be launched. So yeah, we learned a lot of lessons through that. And yeah, it was a good experience to go through and actually see the game virtually as well. So what we're looking for from our communities, what we're looking for from the Seattle community, primarily your feedback on this presentation, on the game itself. I'll show you just the box and its content quickly. So at the back, you have brief instructions, but inside you also have the glossary and a more detailed set of instructions. You have your 6 decks of cards, your regular 6-face die. And as I mentioned before, you really can play for days without going through one card twice. There are 420 cards in total, 69 cards plus a joker in each deck. So there's really no limit in playtime. And yeah, so whatever thoughts you have right away on the game, the presentation, strategies that you think we should look into implementing, yeah, I welcome and encourage all feedback. We also would appreciate contacts in the game or retail industry, as well as contacts for bars, breweries, Airbnbs, anywhere where we could kind of just place the game with hopes that anyone could just pick it up and hopefully have a good time. And what they do from there is up to them. We'd like any tips on social media marketing. And if you do want to follow us on social media, that's also encouraged. I'll drop the links in the chat. And finally, if you're so led, order a game on the website and sign up for the Top Dog Ambassador program. Ladies and gentlemen, we all hate losing, but I can tell you from experience that a loss is worth it if you're getting sent to the doghouse. So I hope I could see you there. Thank you for allowing me to present this morning. And I'm looking forward to your questions and comments.
Thanks, Owen. That was a wonderful presentation to get to hear, and I'm sure everyone probably has a couple questions or thoughts to come to mind here. We're going to be posting Owen's contact information in the chat, and we're going to actually stop the screen share for a second and move over to questions. So if you have a question, just simply raise your hand in the Zoom chat function or the reactions tab. You can click reactions, click raise hand, and we'll get to you. So just one question, kind of one word or one breath answer, one breath question. If you have a second question, raise your hand again and we'll come back around to meet you. I didn't catch who was hand was up first, so I think it might have been Katie. I'm not sure. Katie's first.
Hey, Owen, so fun. And I especially loved that you showed us your game afterwards. Like, that's just like so cool and tangible and fun. So I know that Kickstarter is a possible thing that a lot of people like might consider if they've got a physical product, maybe even not if they have a physical product. I'm just curious if you could share a little bit more about what you think made your Kickstarter campaign successful, so that people can learn from your success.
Thank you for that question. So I think the biggest thing for us with being successful in the Kickstarter was tapping into media outlets. So we got a few newspaper articles, got a few blog posts, got our school even to do a little story on us and post it on the website and post on the school's social media pages. And we noticed that every time something came out, we had an influx of backers. So I think what I'd suggest to anyone who's going to go with the crowdfunding route, find some journalists who are interested in either the industry that they're into or just like entrepreneurship in general, small businesses, and tap into them before the campaign launches. If you have like a community that like will take pleasure in sharing your story, tap into them. I think going with that approach was very helpful for us. And I'd add something that I wish we had thought of earlier is influencers. I think like especially on TikTok right now, had we tapped into that, I think we could have seen even more success. Like have someone like play the game on TikTok and just see like what happens there.
That's actually one of my questions. I'm glad Katie asked that. I was like, yeah, successful Kickstarter. That's not a common, always the case. So thanks, Katie. We're going to move on to Stephanie's question and then followed by Tiara.
Oh, I think Tiara was first, though. I don't
reverse that then.
Okay.
Oh, thanks, Stephanie. Wow. Oh, and that was amazing. I am obsessed with games, especially drinking games. So I am on your website now. And so with the breweries and Airbnbs, I have a lot of people I can connect you with. I was also wondering if you thought about apartment buildings. So I'm here in Seattle, and my apartment building has tons of games up there. And I think a lot of others do too. So I think that would be a good route. And then maybe coffee shops as well. But what would be the best way to kind of hook that up for you?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for thinking of that. So in those cases, like we have no problem just sending the game to the building or the company, and just, yeah, like have it sit out. So like if like you can send us like an address, like maybe like a website of the place, and like we could maybe chat with someone so they know like, hey, this is our story. Like so it's not just like we're sending something cold, like they know to, I guess, like think of us if anyone asks for a recommendation of what game to play. Yeah, we have no problem sending a free game.
Perfect. I will do that. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tier. We got Stephanie followed by Kareem.
Wonderful presentation. I thought it was fantastic. I want to make sure I'm okay. My background's in marketing. The other thing I'm super jealous is actually one of the biggest things at UW here in Tacoma is that we did not have an entrepreneur program. I started making one because I was so upset that we didn't have anything. And I've done 2 Kickstarter campaigns with 2 different sets of other groups who've started their products and companies as well. A couple things I would recommend is I've took a quick look based on your question about social media. Consistency is key. You guys have a couple of things. I think there's 4 posts max since Facebook, since you guys launched the product. For engagement wise, that's just not enough consistency for that. 2, I would recommend looking at other types of similar products. In this case, I'm a big proponent as a gamer, and I go to PAX typically every year except the pandemic, and places like that for these types of games, especially card games, is super easy to pick up, super easy to engage and get people playing, but you have no content showing people playing the game and having a good time. It's just there's cards on the website that explain what it is, and I can kind of understand it, but like you mentioned with influencers and people actually playing the game and engaging with the game, you're going to want to show content on social media about it, different people talking about it. I would recommend looking at a very successful game that's similar card game is Super Fight. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's basically a black box, and for PAX Seattle here, which is a huge gaming convention along with many of them across the world, they sold out like nuts. It's literally just a card deck, similar thing, except it's the game is about fighting against, how would you argue against superheroes fighting superheroes? And that was the game. And it was a huge hit because it was very easy to pick up. And looking at your game, this is very easy to pick up with a group of friends. You don't have to be a gamer to do this. It's very much not only casual, but it's something, again, someone who might like, sure, I'll do something fun just because they want to engage in a party and aspect. I would look at what they've done on social media, what they've done in terms of trying to engage with influencers. I would also start with influencers in the gaming community who are smaller, because they will have a larger engaged community on social media as opposed to like a huge YouTuber or a huge gamer, because they are going to have a lot less engagement rate to people actually purchasing the product. So look for people who have maybe under 100,000 subscribers, someone you can get in contact with saying, hey, here's this product. Those are the people who are going to get the best bang for your buck in getting the product out there, especially to a wider mass of people. But great presentation. I'm super jealous because I wish, based on my own history, I went through a similar path, which I did not. My team was not as had their own problems as opposed to coming together. So that's really inspiring to hear that. And just good luck. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to discuss more.
Thank you very much. That was very helpful. This game, the Super Fight game scenes, like they're popping. So yeah, I'll have to check out the things they're doing. And yeah, all the things that you said were very helpful. Thank you.
Thanks, Stephanie. We're going to move on to Kareem, followed by Zaki.
Hey, Owen, thank you very much for the presentation. That sounds, and congratulations on all the success so far. Like, it's fantastic. My question goes to, you have 4 founders. How are you guys divvying up the work? And how are you guys sort of, who is doing what, how are ties broken? Can you talk a little bit about that? Like, how does it work on a day-to-day basis operationally?
Certainly. So all of us have separate full-time gigs. I was a volunteer for the last year. In August, I start law school at Notre Dame. We have a CPA, investment banker, and someone who's doing like marketing at Edward Jones. But yeah, so all of us have full-time gigs. So like we really had to communicate like what we're good at, what we can commit to, and try to stick to those roles. And what those ended up shaking out to be is I had operations and business relationships. Hannah is she's, I guess you would call her a CFO. Well, Hannah and Zach kind of split the financials, but Hannah, in addition to financial, she oversees product development, and Zach oversees design. So he designs everything that you see in the game. He did himself, and a lot of the social media graphics he does as well. And Margaret does all of the social media.
Thanks, Kareem. Good question on the operations, because it's, you got to make sure that you have your operating agreement in place, or else when things go wrong, you won't know what to do. Very important. Zaki, followed by Tessa.
Oh, and that was fantastic. I really think it looks like a fun game. So thanks for bringing that to us.
Thank you.
I'm assuming this was an undergraduate program, or was it a graduate school program that you did this in?
Undergrad, correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So I can tell you that I worked at a university for quite a long time, and every year they had some kind of entrepreneurial class where people would pitch stuff. And the ideas were sometimes good, sometimes bad, but it was great to see that pitch competition and all the fun that went with it. I think you should seek out universities to tell this story to, and give that professor a chance to hear from you and have their class. You can do it remotely. And in 15 minutes, you can reach a class of entrepreneurs at a university and help them learn from what you've done, but maybe even get some customers, because college kids love to play games. So that's my recommendation. I think you'd be a hit on the entrepreneurial classroom tour.
That is brilliant. Thank you so much. Yeah, I wish we had thought of that. Thank you so much.
Good luck.
Thanks, Professor Zaki. Always love a little bit of tidbit from the education side of the world. We've got, and by the way, this is all kind of being recorded on the chat. So at the very end, when you'll be able to pull out this information and not take double notes if you don't want. Tessa, you're up next, and followed by Leif.
Hi, Owen. Thank you so much for presenting. Thank you for, I like to have a game. I like games too. So, and it made me think we've actually had a previous presenter on here who had a card game fairly different to what you're talking about. It's more along the lines of talking about being vulnerable in front of other people. But this about your story and sharing your story with other people. The person who ran it actually ran events in person with her game, because she had the problem of people buying it, going, "Oh, I love getting the game," never actually played it with people. They were too scared. So it just kind of made me think that she was really, really successful in that endeavor. She was getting written up about it as well, bringing people together. And she would meet up in coffee shops and bars and things, and just invite people on Eventbrite to come and join in. And they were very moved. So I was thinking, like, you were talking about, I wish I'd got some influencers on TikTok. Perhaps there is another avenue of you playing your own game with people, bringing them together via Eventbrite, especially now that things are opening up more. That's something that people really want to get excited about, getting together with other people. Loneliness is rife. People wanting to just have fun. It could be a great way to, get your game, have footage of your game so you can use it on TikTok, actually get people playing it in person with you, get to meet them. And you could spin it a million different ways, but it was just an idea that came out to me that's a little like social media related, but takes it a step further.
Yeah, thank you. So do you know if when she did events, were they impromptu or were they planned? Like she had like the
They
whole
were
like
just,
flyers
yeah,
and
they were like, from what I understood, it's a woman called Aubrey from Heart to Hearts. It's a website now. As she was, because of COVID, she couldn't get people in person anymore. But she was, I believe, either putting them up on Eventbrite or Meetup, and people would just RSVP. They were free, I think. Oh, were they free? Then actually, she might have charged, which is quite a good side hustle. And because she's selling her product, right? But she's actually in our community. So if you want to link up with her, we can also connect you, but to talk with her about it. But yeah, I believe it was pre-organized, but it wasn't like months out, I don't think.
right. Okay, thank you. That is a good idea. And also something that we have not explored, just like with the pandemic going on, like it didn't even occur to us. So thank you. I think right now the timing would be good as well.
Yeah, we were talking with her about like, she was wondering how to get more people to go to her site now. And I was like, why don't you run those events again online virtually? So we're not sure if she ended up doing that, but like she was, because people were so wanted to do fun things together and during the COVID, but hopefully now it opening up might give you another opportunity. But just thought I'd offer.
Thank you.
That's that great memory, of course. And we have Lindy next.
Hi, Owen. That was fantastic. Thanks for sharing with us. My first
Thank
job
you.
out of college was with a little game company called Cranium. And so I know very well the challenges of like figuring out manufacturing, distribution, your sales, right? So it's big challenges, and that was more than 20 years ago. So it's a crazy world. And especially I was thinking about your challenges with getting things out during, the Christmas season and like shipping and like, my gosh, just congratulations on getting through all that and actually getting something into your customers' hands. I wanted to ask you, what's your sales strategy? Are you going to keep it sort of like direct to consumer through your website, or are you looking at being with stores and like Target, Walmart, like with Cranium, right? It was sort of a family friendly game, so we could sell through all of the major channels. And I could give you lots of input about like how to do that and where to go and trade shows. But in terms of like an adult game, I'm not sure. Maybe you can tell me more about that and where you're planning to sell through and what your growth strategy is.
Yeah, thank you for that question. We've been making our attempts with retailers of all size. So small here in Minnesota and even a few in Wisconsin, mid-size, which in most cases would have stores across the US, and like the big brands, Walmart, Target, but have not had any bites except for just a few small ones, including like our school's old bookstore, our old school's bookstore. So not a lot of success with retail so far. Honestly, at this point, like we've just been finding most of our success with word of mouth and the Top Dog Ambassador program, which kind of goes back to the word of mouth. So that's been our most successful sales strategy so far. And just given what we're capable of doing right now, as far as time, like we're okay with it. Like we're still kind of figuring out how much more, if we did want to grow, how much more we could handle. But yeah, we're definitely looking for more right now. So any tips there would definitely be appreciated.
Thanks, Lindy, for the sales question. I'm going to jump in here with mine. I'm actually just curious what the app was like. Is it the same game just on the app? And what was your reason for being declined from the Apple Store?
Yeah, so I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but I have it on my old phone. So like you have like the Doghouse app, you have Play and the different packs. So there's the standard pack, which is essentially half of, so there are 20 cards in the deck. So the standard pack would have 210 divided by 6. And the 3 extension packs, the packs are standard plus, which is kind of like miscellaneous. Kiss and tell, so anything like relationship, dating, suggestive, girls' night, and 420. So any of the excess cards from the first half that like fall into those categories, plus I don't know, maybe an additional 10. Those are in the extension packs, and they're $10 each. And yeah, like you select play, add the names of players, and then it kind of just functions as the regular game. Like you tap the screen to roll the die, card comes up, you read up the prompt, and then you have this drop down function and can select who you send to the doghouse. And like I said before, like I don't really suggest like you play it competitively. It's just like it doesn't really feel good. But the game does allow you to keep a tally of how many times each player has been sent to the doghouse. So honestly, we felt really good about it. Thought it could have been pretty successful and also even helped with the sale of our physical game. But the reason we got rejected from Apple is that they are moving away from party games. And so like we made it pretty PG even when we sent in our version for approval. Like we kept it pretty clean, just sent in the standard version. And yeah, they just were not interested. And I guess like once we read up a little more, we took it a little less personally. Apparently, like the party games that are currently in the App Store aren't even allowed to update their games. So it is a brand in general that they are looking to move away from, unfortunately. So yeah, we just found that out a little too late in the process.
That's very unfortunate and also very surprising. I don't know much about that ecosystem, but because like in Android, you just install whatever app you want, even if it's not from the store. So that's just, it's mind blowing to see the control, distribution networks have over their software. Bummer to hear though, but the app looks really cool on the demo that you showed. I'm surprised that you put like, it's like you guys are doing a lot for this being a side hustle. So I've got, I think this is Katie and then Zucky.
That was a great segue, Leif, into my question, because this is something that I think that like we all as entrepreneurs can get caught up in, is like the excitement of the thing we're building or the passion we have for the stuff we do, right? And we forget that we're also maybe trying to build a business and like support ourselves, right? And so I'm curious, like, what is your hope financially, right? Like, I mean, I think it was great that you guys met your Kickstarter and like so awesome, but it was also a very small amount of money, obviously not money that any of the four of you could live on. So I'm just curious, what are your hopes and dreams for this as like a business, or for people being able to kind of make money off of it as a business owner?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, financially, I think like our biggest goal is just remaining profitable. I don't think like there's a number in mind or like a particular scale in mind. And as far as like how long we'll stick to it, I don't really know. I mean, like, I think the game's like really fun. And I think like the value of games and like the community building that it has is like something that's really important. But I guess like, at least like I have a desire, like what I do full time to be like a little more like obviously impactful and helpful in the lives for other people. So yeah, I guess like for right now, it's just for fun. And as long as we're not losing money, like we're okay. But yeah, while we're doing it, I guess like we just are like trying to remain ambitious and just do more than we did yesterday.
Yeah. Well, no, and I just want to like say kudos for acknowledging that like that's where you're at, right? Like there's no shame or harm in that, right? For us establishing like, here's why I'm doing this thing, and that's okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Katie. I'll get Zucky followed by Murgesh. And then we'll be out of questions probably.
Yeah. So if the App Store won't take you, one option if you want to go this route is to create a progressive web app, which is really just, it's an online version which they can just turn into, a player can just save it to their home screen. It looks like an app, looks like everything, but it doesn't go through the Apple Web Store, none of that. It's just a web game. So just a thought, progressive web app, it's an opportunity for you.
Okay, thank you. I like Yeah, I'll go back to the guys and like ask them if that is something they had considered. That's the first time I've heard of that. Thank you.
Thanks, Saki. We're going to progress over to Murgesh.
I think Zaki just asked my question. That's where I was going with it. It seems to me, just from what I'm hearing, I'm not trying to be discouraging. You're all moved on. You're all doing different things. Over time, you'll find less commonality. At one point, you're all unemployed and nobody had anything to do. And it's like you're feeding off each other's ideas. The dynamic is very different. And soon everybody gets different priorities in their life, whatever, right? This will kind of fade away. It'll go to zero pretty much because of interest, not necessarily value. What I was thinking was the same thing that Zaki was saying, is get rid of all the physical games, the app store submissions. Those are all too many things to manage. Can you bring it to one point, maybe have just a website, have something and, let it grow organically. Then you're monitoring one point of data. You're not looking to see how many Android downloads happen, how many iPhone downloads happen, all of these different variables, right? You're just looking at the web traffic and see how people are using it and see what happens over time. Can you simplify the idea down to just a simple core that you can watch, you can track to see if it's getting adoption? And maybe the outlier good problem to have is suddenly it takes off for whatever reason, and some of you decide, okay, I'm going to jump in and do this full time, right? At least give yourself that opportunity to, that runway of a year or 18 months or whatever for something to happen by simplifying your life. Which means get rid of all the moving points and make it one moving point, one variable. So anyway, that's just a suggestion.
Yeah, I think definitely like making things compact is definitely like what I am hoping for. Not necessarily narrowing things down to one line of business, but something similar at least.
Yeah, and you're all in different geographical locations. Is that right now?
At the moment, we're all in Minnesota, but that was not the case for most of our time operating. I just got back in the U.S. on Friday, and I'm leaving the U.S. again in 2 weeks. And when I do return in August, it'll be in Indiana. So,
yeah, I do multiple things, so I know how hard it is to kind of jump back and forth on these things. So, and especially if you're in sync with other people doing multiple things, it's an impossible problem at some stage. So, just feedback.
Thank you.
Thanks, Murgesh. Thanks everyone for your questions. We are going to move on to the next thing. Thank you, Owen. While I put up the screen share, Owen, would you mind putting your contact information in the chat so if people have follow-ups, they can give it to you?
Thank you.
And I'm going to throw the screen up here. There we are. And we have a final question. You kind of already landed with this one, Owen, at the very end. It's like, what can the 1 Million Cups community do for you? So as a reiterated question, after you type in your email, appreciate everyone and their very thoughtful questions today. I think it was a really great discussion point to start off of. And by the way, anyone with the chat, you can go into the chat and click on the 3 little dots. Do not call it hamburger menu, some other type of menu, and you can click save chat. It'll save as a text file too. All right. So without further ado, Owen, what can the 1 Million Cups community do for you?
Honestly, I think from this community in particular, I kind of already got more than I was looking for as far as like the feedback and ideas there. I received a lot from your community, so thank you so much. And I know like some persons like mentioned like some specific contacts or like specific topics that we could possibly like follow up on. So definitely would love to tap into those. So yeah, I guess tapping into those would be my my only ask. So thank you so much.
Wonderful. Yeah, thanks everyone for the feedback and ideas. And if you want to present here, just like Owen did, you can apply at 1millioncups.com/Seattle. You can also apply at other 1 Million Cups if you've already applied here and presented to get a different perspective as you move across different events. Owen could probably say they're all different groups. Every group's a little different. You get a little different thing every time. So it's a great opportunity to share your idea too. And if you have any inkling in becoming one of us cool organizers, drop us a line at seattle@1millioncups.com and we will start the conversation with you. It's a great opportunity to practice, hone a skill, volunteer. And then the link tree that's in the chat, just a reminder. So if you wanted to apply to present, it's a quick way to get there, sign up to get the emails, to get the YouTube replays, or the link. So that is in the link tree. Really cool service if you also need for your own needs. I guess it's a free service if you ever need to put a lot of lists together of links. Cool thing. And next week, we have another presentation at 9 a.m. So we will see you next week. But first, we're going to break out into some breakout rooms. These are just a little opportunity to chat 3-on-3, 2-on-2 about presentation, whatever's got going on. And how it works is you get a free pass to go when you're full, and so you can keep chatting. I think the breakout rooms will be open a little bit after 10 o'clock too if you want to keep chatting. Otherwise, we'll see everyone here next week. Appreciate you being here, and those will be opening up here in a second. And thanks, Owen, for presenting to us today.